SKST Radio.
Well. Welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and you are tuned in to the Cammie Grayson Show. I am Cammie Grayson here, and I have a new friend. She goes by the name of Courtney. Courtney, welcome to the show! Woo! Happy New Year, girl.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Well, this has been a long time coming. I'm glad you're here on the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Oh my gosh, girl, you're so beautiful. So, you wrote a book, and we're going to talk about your book. However, I want to learn about you. Tell people who you are and how you got started to writing.
I am Courtney Foster, and I actually just started writing not too long ago. I started writing about 6 years ago after my father asked me to write a poem for our family reunion, and I did that somewhat reluctantly because that's not really what I had in mind when I suggested that he get family members to participate in our family reunion banquet program. But I did it, and it was received well, and I just started writing more and more after that. I wrote more poems, and then I said to myself, maybe I can write a short story, which turned out to be a really long short story. So I wrote some more of those, and then I thought maybe I could write a book. So
Okay.
that's kind of where this started. Passing notes came from more of a whim, I guess. I
Mm-hmm.
decided I would give it a shot because the idea that I had seemed a lot bigger than anything I had done before with poems and with short stories. So this is where we are.
Nice. Well, okay, so tell people about your book.
All right. Well, Passing Notes is about two best friends fresh out of college in 1951. They kissed their families goodbye in DC. They board a train bound from New York City, seeking opportunities free from the shackles of Jim Crow. But fortunately, when they get there, they find out that New York has its own brand of racism that is just as oppressive as what they experienced back home. But one of the friends, being fair skinned, she was able to take advantage of opportunities than her darker skinned best friend. So the book is about her managing the stress and the consequences of living a double life when she decides to go that route. So it's essentially a book about passing for white in the early 1950s, but it's not just
Right.
about that. It's about uh, colorism, sexism, and friendship, and romance, and work and family dynamics, which is all the things that our parents and grandparents experienced back then, which are still relevant to what we all experience as Black people in America.
Right. That's so interesting because that is a different world for people don't realize that. I mean, back in the day, if you were fair skinned, I mean, you were like hated on by your equals, right? And then, you were like in the middle, you're not completely dark skin like everybody else. And having the fair skin sometimes got the advantage of, a little bit more than what the other skin tone people received.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, and I think that the book touches on that a little bit. Actually, probably a lot, but it is about the deeper issues of what those decisions kind of made or um, what making that decision did in the lives of an actual individual person who was passing. So it takes a look at that from the inside out more so from the
Mhm.
outside in, where people kind of see it happening and commentate on it. It's what she was experiencing directly.
Oh, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So tell us, so what inspired you to do this particular book?
Well, I have always been fascinated with the concept of passing. I saw
Mm-hmm.
Imitation of Life when I was a very little girl with my mom.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of my first introduction to the concept, and that was a very kind of dramatic depiction of how it all went down, starting from when um, the the person that was passing was a very young child through adulthood. And I think that, from that point on, I just became aware of it, a little bit more. So I always watch things that, that had something to do with housing, along with, other things, obviously. But I paid very close attention to um, the programs and specials that or movies had to do with that concept. Um, I I just remember just always being interested in what how do people arrive at that choice, uh, and then when this idea for the book came to me, I read more books about it. I read, novels as well as nonfiction books. In particular, I read this book called White Like Her, written by the daughter of a woman who was passing. I'd seen her on a talk show, so I read the book, which I found quite enlightening and interesting from that perspective.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that's a good subject though. I mean, I can't wait to read the book. I haven't read it. However, it's very interesting, and I feel like everybody need to know those different aspects of life. Because you don't think about it. You just don't think about how a light skinned person's way of the world is totally different from the dark skinned person's way of the world, or how they were treated in the Caucasian world, I should say. Opposed to you might have got a cookie where the other person wouldn't have received a cookie. You might have gotten a different upkeep than the other person. So it's, people don't realize it's a little bitty something, but it could be a big something too. Sometimes the first skin, I've come across where they don't realize where they fit in. It's like, okay, well, I'm not completely black, but I'm not completely white. Where do I fit in? So you get that too, from the first scan. That, it's something that I guess people really have to think about and be mindful of it.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, and I think that in the book it does, the main character Cheryl does um, have a lot of kind of memories of how she was treated as a child, even within her own family. So it does touch on some of that, the differences. Now, how she's able to interact with the white world, so to speak. It's not necessarily about her being fair skinned. It's about them really believing that she's white and she has to even abandon everything that she has grown up with to that point of of being a fair-skinned Black person and dealing with that within her own community. She has to pretty much abandon that and figure out what it means, how to act like a white person so that they don't suspect it, because it wouldn't have mattered what her complexion was. She wouldn't have been able to do the things that she was aspiring to do in this novel if they found out that she was Black at that time, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, Courtney, tell people how they can get the book.
Well, it is available online, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, in busboysandpoets.com, everywhere online, Walmart as well. You can get passing notes, and I am excited about it. Every time I look, there's a new place that you can find the book. There's lots of good reviews. I'm excited that everyone is really enjoying reading reading this book and relating
That's
to it on a
wonderful.
lot of different levels. People who are like my parents' age in their 70s and younger people, millennials, they all have nothing good things to say about what they experienced reading Passing Notes.
Nice, nice. Well, girl, I am very proud of you.
Thank
You
you.
keep going, keep writing, and I want to hear back from you. I want to see you again, and let's see, let's get those book sales up, man. I mean, we everybody needs to be reading this book. I mean, it is part of our culture. I feel that it's a staple. I think you have done a great job, and we need to make it happen. We need to keep it going, girl.
Thank you. That's perfect. And I have another book, a second part to this book coming out hopefully this year, which this book is the inception of a family secret, so to speak. And the next book is going to be the consequences of that, of
Okay,
family members down the road, kind of contemporarily. So I'm excited about that as well. And I hope
yay.
that does just as well and better.
Nice. Well, we want you back so you can talk about that book as well.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to.
Well, guys, this is Courtney Foster. Courtney, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being on the show. And we're going to hear more from this young lady. She is doing things, going places, and making it happen right here. SKST Radio, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Bye bye.
Bye.